Alright, what's up guys? Garrett here again. In these videos I like to go over what my sales were yesterday, just to kind of give you an idea of, like, I made $420 in sales. Now what does that actually look like, coming into my bank account, what sold and all that stuff, because those gold bars. These videos I like making sure the volume works. But anyways, the gold bars, they're awesome. You love to look at them and everything, but they don't give you the full picture. And in these videos, I like to break down, exactly, like, once you take your cost of goods sold, which is like how much you spent to buy a single book. Once you take that out, and then once you take the Amazon fees out, which is, I think, like 30% usually, roughly around there per book. Once you take that out, what are you left with, actually? Because I didn't get paid. I made $420 some, but I didn't get paid $420 some. So let's dive in, because that is the thing that it's what I struggled with. Oops, hold on. Yeah, it's what I struggled with really a lot, because I didn't understand business getting into this. So you can see that, like, this is seller board, by the way. I do have a link in the description below if you want to check it out. It just breaks down all your profits and really kind of gives you the full picture without having to go and dig and do a lot of math to figure out. You do have to add your COGS and you do have to add your expenses in order to get like a good profit number. So it is a little manual work, but I mean, no matter what software you go with, it's gonna be some manual work. So what you need to do, if you do get seller board, what you need to do is just put in your expenses and COGS and you'll be good to go. But in seller board, you can see I made 428, not 420, but 428. 420 just sounds like a cooler number, a little more rounded. But it's also, I made 428, and so once you take out all the fees and stuff, and what you're actually making is 328 going into my bank account. And then once you take the COGS out, the cost of goods sold, and what you spent on your products, that brings me down to 145 for my gross profit. And then the gross profit gets, after you get your gross profit, then you have to take out your expenses, like your tools, like if you spent money on education or whatever. If you used your business bank account for an expense to move your business forward, either by education, your tools, sometimes there's like business fees that you have to pay the state and stuff. If you spent money on that, that's where your expenses come out of, and that's where this number right here brings you down to, because you minus that out, and I had an expense of some sort came out, and that brought me down to $99. So off of $428 on yesterday's sales, I'm profiting, the real number that matters, $99, which that's pretty good. That's not bad at all. Then if you look, but where it really matters, especially the expenses and the COGS for that matter, is the month to date. And obviously, as you go out further and further for the year as well, it all obviously really matters. But you'll really be able to see the breakdown, because yeah, I made $99 off of $428, which you're thinking like, okay, that's easy. Just make $420 every day and you'll be good. Well, not necessarily. Like, yeah, that would be good if I could do that, but I don't do that. Not every day do I get that number. So today is the 7th of July, and I've made 1,400 in sales. Getting paid out 963. Once you take the COGS out, I'm getting paid out 426. And then once you get the expenses out the way, 120.48. So yeah, I made $99 for the day yesterday, but that really contributed to a large portion of my profit, because I'm only at $120 of profit right now. So my expenses are a little high right now. And that's, an issue that I'm trying to remedy, but it's not easy to, let some tools go and stuff. But if we come down here, and this is everything that's sold, looks like I did have a return as well. Was it a return? Oh, no, it was just, so whenever you see units sold 0, and then you come over to the refunds and it's 0 as well, that's going to tell you that Amazon deemed this product unsellable, unfulfillable. So they're going to, I have it set up now where they'll send it back to me. So I'll inspect it and I'll decide if it's good or not, which I only spent $4.95 on it. Oh wait, no, sorry, I apologize. This is actually maybe a warehouse damage because I'm getting paid out $10.29. So Amazon decided that, or either lost it or warehouse damaged it. We come all the way over here and click the more button, and then we come over here to Amazon fees. You can see we're getting paid out $10.29 for it. Oh, there we go. It's warehouse damage. So where the warehouse damaged it, so they're sending us back $10.29 is what they're gonna do. That's like, I don't know. They may have lost it. Usually if they've lost it, it says that they've lost it. But this happens a lot. I've noticed, like when someone buys something and then they cancel it or they return it. They sometimes will do that where they'll just be like, all right, here's the projected value of it, which you can see that I've listed it at $18.56, and they've, I mean, I probably would have, yeah, I may have profited that, because I'm profiting if once the fees are taken out, I'm profiting $5.34, which, you know, isn't amazing, but it's a positive number, so I'm happy with that. But anyways, that's what it kind of looks like whenever you get that problem going on. But I've already put these all in my spreadsheet. That's usually what I'll do for now, but I already did it this morning. So I'm just going through it. Sold a Pokemon Black version 2 and Pokemon White version, I'm guessing 2. I sold those two, or sorry, the 2. I sold like a game strategy guide. I've sold this one twice actually. This is a pretty good book. Most Pokemon things I'm gated in, but for some reason this one I'm able to sell it. It's kind of strange, but anyways, bought it for 27, sold it 58. Getting paid out $41.29, and then my net profit once you take out your fees, which is $16 for fees. Cost of goods was $27. So my gross profit was $14.08, and my net profit is going to be $14.08. There's not going to be much of a difference whenever you're breaking it down from for like book by book for your gross profit to your net profit, because there's not really an expense coming out of that. Like this is the, you know, where your cogs are coming from, if that makes sense. There's not going to be much of a difference here. Where the difference is going to be is whenever you put in your expenses for the month or for the day, you know, whatever you're looking at, that's where you're going to see the difference between gross and net profit. Anyways, moving on, we got this one sold, and this one I've sold, I believe, a couple times. Let's look at it a little more. Exploring interpersonal relation or communication. So this one I bought it $28.29, sold it at $60. Amazon fees come out to $16.57. Gross profit is $14, and then the estimated payout is $43.43. And if we look at it, it's a decent book. Definitely doesn't sell like crazy, but it sells quite a bit throughout the year. And I've sold this one, I think, a couple times. Let's look at it right now. Oh no, just once. I could have sold it further back in time, but I'm not going to take the time to filter it all through. But that's how you get that. This one I know I sold a couple times. I buy it for 90 some dollars, but I sell it for 200. And I've sold it twice for 200. I think back in January is when I sold it last. Sold, and I mean, estimated payout is 160, so I'm getting all that 92 back plus 67 to 86 on top of it. So that's a huge win for me. Like getting $67 off of one book. I mean, I did have to spend 92 bucks on it, which, you know, it's hard to do sometimes. But it's obviously, you can see that it is definitely worth it to make 67 bucks. And then the Life Plan Study Bible, bought it COGS for 1932, sold for 50. Amazon fees are 15, 17, and I'm profiting about 1551. Estimated payout 3483. And just so you know, this 1551 isn't including my prep center fee. My prep center charges me every week or 2 weeks, depending on how fast they're shipping out stuff, and I'll come in here and I'll add the expense right here whenever they do that. So this doesn't include that. So technically it's less. It's going to be net profit. It's going to be less than that. That would be the minus between the gross profit and net profit. But I put those in the indirect expenses category because that's a different area where it comes out of. And that's going to be kind of the same way you're going to go about it no matter what software you're using, because Amazon doesn't calculate that, if that makes sense. It doesn't calculate it in the back end, so you're going to be doing that all on your own. So you wouldn't really take it out right here. You would take it out once the expense for the prep center comes out. I hope that makes sense. And then I sold 2 of these. Not really like a huge win, but I mean, actually kind of is a big win. It's over 200% ROI for 2 of them. Sold them both at 30 bucks, but I got them both at 522. So it's a pretty good one right there. I think it just sells like crazy. But just, you know, I mean, it's not $67. You know, I'm not making $67 on it, but it's definitely 100% ROI is nothing to scoff at. But anyways, I did want to share, like, if you don't want seller board, I completely understand. You know, it's just another tool that you got to do. I did find where you can find all these numbers on Amazon. So if you go to your menu over here, you go down to payments and then hit payments right here, go payments, and then you'll come over here to the all statements tab. And oh wait, sorry, transaction view tab. I'm sorry, I was looking at my statements. But you can see that, let's see, Pokemon Black version 2 right here. I can see that my total product charges was 58, so I made 58 bucks on it. You can see 58. Come back over here. Amazon fees was 1671. 1671 were the Amazon fees, and the total was 4129. And the total right here, estimated payout is 4129. So you don't need seller board, because you can just get all of these numbers right here. If you're just like, reason why I have seller board is because it's really nice to look at like this right here. I can see like, okay, this is the total sales I made. This is the total net profit that I've made for, you know, the month or the day, you know. I can see it all clean. But if you're just wanting to fill in your Excel spreadsheet or something, this is a great way to do it too. All the numbers that seller board's pulling are coming from right here. You know what I'm saying? So it's not really like you have to have it. And you can get, it's just your statement view maybe. You can kind of break it down and understand like what's going on. I really can't. it doesn't break it down like this. Like the month is just, it's invaluable to me to be like, all right, $1,400 is what I made in sales, and you're not really gonna be able to make that out with this. I mean, I guess you could if you're really confident in being able to add up your numbers. I don't know. Let's see here. Yeah, I can't really pop it open to a month. And that's what I think is the most valuable thing for, let's see here, lending, all statements, transaction view. Yeah, there's not really like a total on here either. So I think that's the main reason why seller board is so good. Like, in order to justify the payment, is you can get the totals more than anything. You know, all these numbers you can find on there, and it's not really like gonna throw you off or anything. But like, as for like the totals, if you're wanting to see exactly what you made profit wise, you're not gonna be able to find that because Amazon isn't considering all your expenses. It's not considering all your COGS. You know, they're just telling you, hey, you sold, let's look at this, you sold this, life plan study Bible for $50. We took out this much money, and we're gonna deposit this much money into your reserve account, and then you'll get it paid out eventually. So it's not really telling you exactly the total of what you made in the day, and especially not telling you what you made in profit wise, if that makes sense. You could definitely figure this number out by narrowing down the dates and stuff and adding it all up and everything, but Sellerboard just does it for you. So that's kind of the main reason why I would do that. But I will say I am shifting over to QuickBooks. I've gotten it down to where I've got the numbers almost almost completely on point for me, and I think that it's just another step that I can take out. It would, like, updating the cogs on Sellerboard and updating my spreadsheet. I'm going to be using QuickBooks and A2X to try to take that process out of it, because it's such a time-consuming process that if I could reduce that, I would love to. And on top of that, QuickBooks, it's the gold standard for all the tax preparers and everything. So if you can get QuickBooks down and on point with all of its numbers, I think that you're well on your way to being more confident and more prepared for the tax season. I will be coming out with more videos about that once I have everything lined up, and I'll explain like my financial statements and stuff. But until then, I'll still keep updating Sellerboard. That way I'm not losing ground. And I think that I might be able to use my spreadsheet to auto-populate a lot of my inventory into the A2X and QuickBooks stuff. So that's the next step that I'm going to be going towards, and that mainly comes from I've got certified as a QuickBooks Pro Advisor, and so I'm going to be start offering my services, and I really can't offer my services unless I've kind of walked the walk. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get that all lined up, walk the walk for a little bit, and then show exactly like what I would be able to do and what you will be able to see on those financial statements once I have everything completely lined up. But it just takes some time. I'm going back into 2024, and so cleaning up all of my accounts from 2024, and I did the profit first method, and I like the profit first method, and I think that it's a great method to do, but coming from an accounting perspective, it's a nightmare. I have literally 16 different accounts that I have to reconcile, and oh my goodness gracious, I am definitely simplifying my my banking. I'm going to reduce it all the way down to just one bank account, and not going to be worrying about that. That 16 accounts is also credit cards as well. But I think I have a total of 8 different bank accounts right now, because the profit first method, you're supposed to have, your savings account, of course, your income, where all your money from Amazon or eBay and wherever you get your money comes into, and then you take all that money and you distribute it every 2 weeks out to your inventory bank account, then your operating expenses bank account, and then your supplies bank account, and then your owner's comp, profit account, taxes account, and then I also have another bank account where me personally, I get all my Amazon stuff sent there because it gets spread out. I can get it there. It's called Novo. I send it there, and it automatically spreads out my actual owner's income and stuff, and so it's a lot easier, so I just don't have to think about it. But I've found that isn't really the best way to do it, because what Amazon's given me, I really can't just take 10%, because that's what I've been trying to pay myself. I can't take 10% out of what Amazon's depositing, because what Amazon is depositing, 10% of it isn't all, it shouldn't be all mine. Like, I should find out what the profit is of that deposit and take 10% of that. You know what I'm saying? Because if I take 10% of the whole thing, well, some of that's COGS that I'm taking out, you know, so I can't justify taking that out because then my business isn't really growing. It's either one staying flat or going down because I'm taking that COG money out of it. So I need a better way of handling that. And that's the next step where QuickBooks is coming into play, where I'm really going to narrow down my numbers to know, okay, I, you know, in this bank account, you know, I withdrew money and spent it on, you know, say some tool that I didn't need, you know, or something. And then that'll really kind of get me to narrow it down and be able to justify like what I'm doing and stuff. So if you're interested in that, let me know down in the comments, because I'm super excited about getting that QuickBooks thing going. I think it's going to be like a lot more freeing, a lot more understanding of like where my business is at, actually, instead of, you know, I mean, Sellerboard is good. I like Sellerboard, and I might even still use it because of the inventory aspect of it, because it does do a really good job of keeping track of your inventory. But I've heard that A2X, the extension that takes all your Amazon fees and your deposits and stuff and auto populates it into QuickBooks and breaks down, you know, what all that deposit is. It's not just sales. There's also other aspects like returns. There's warehouse loss, like we saw earlier, warehouse damage. So there's a lot of other things coming into that deposit, coming with that deposit, I should say, that A2X breaks down and then auto populates into QuickBooks. That way you don't have to go into every single transaction and split up all of the different accounts that everything's coming from, like Amazon fees, Amazon sales, sales tax, and all of that normal jumbo. So, but yeah, I'm going to be coming out more videos of that, so stay tuned, and I'm excited about it. But thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one. Later, guys.